wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Hi, welcome to Security Guy Radio, sir. What's your name?
My name's Ken Lamarca.
Ken, what's your company name?
It's OnNet Surveillance Systems.
What do you guys do?
We manufacture VMS software for the security industry.
All right, now I have a lot of nieces and nephews that don't know what VMS software means, so let's dumb it down for that group.
Sure. VMS is video management software.
Okay, good. Interesting. This is a big challenge now because everybody's got a video camera on everything. What does your software do specifically that makes this work?
We manage enterprise-wide surveillance for end users citywide. We manage it for every type of application, right down to small camera count, multi-location situations.
So, as a price point, you're scalable based
Very
on how many cameras you have.
That's
Is it a
correct.
subscription base or per camera base or what?
It's a per camera base. It's a license purchase,
Okay.
and it's one license per camera, and we can scale to many thousands of cameras across a system.
What does management mean in that description?
We actually manage the video streams. So if you have 400 cameras in a system, we manage those 400 video streams and make sure that that video ends up where you want it.
Oh, good. Now, do you handle the storage from offsite or what?
Storage can be done off-site, it can be done on-site. We can record directly to a NAS or to hard drives, whichever is more convenient.
What's the trend now? When I was a kid and had a 2 floppy drive computer, right?
Right.
That was a big deal because what people don't realize is there are other other computers that were stored in the room with the big data bank, and your terminal was dumb. The terminal didn't have anything on it, right? It was
Right.
now they call it the cloud, but it's been around a long, long time. And a lot of concerns I get is that the cloud is great except when it's not, right? So do you find big corporations are moving back away from the cloud and moving back towards keeping it in-house? If they can, because they have the wherewithal to do it.
As it pertains to high quality, high resolution video, the cloud is really not a practical solution today.
Okay, not enough bandwidth
There's
up there.
not enough bandwidth. Storage cost is still very high in the cloud. So if you take 200 megapixel cameras or HD cameras and want to move them to the cloud, you need tremendous bandwidth.
Okay,
And
that's interesting.
it's just not practical at this point.
So if you had a small opera, you have a Taco Bell in Encino,
Sure,
and it's got a
sure.
couple cameras, that's going to work because it's
Right.
going to take overnight to upload and that kind of thing.
That's correct.
All right. Distinguish your software from a competitor on how the management portion works. Now, back in the day when I could afford at a studio, and the studio said, you can buy digital cameras, and we went, whoa, $30,000 for 4 cameras
Right.
and a server, which was a little computer basically, right? But I could do some digital searches for timestamps and things, but it was still more or less push the button, rewind it, like a tape deck in a way.
Sure.
Of course, my gray hair tells me that was a long time ago. So how has that improved, and what does your stuff do?
What's a tape deck?
That's right. Oh, you know what? I just heard the other day that analog sales still outdid digital last year.
That's something.
Maybe this year it's going to flip, right? But it's still amazing that people are still going to analog.
I still listen to vinyl.
That's right. It's hot. It's coming back.
So OnSSI software is called Ocularis. And Ocularis is available in 3 different versions. All 3 scale infinitely, but they're tailored for different types of vertical markets or different applications. So the entry-level product is scalable to 64 cameras and is made for multi-locations with smaller camera counts.
Okay.
So much like convenience stores or
Yeah.
franchisee type applications. Then our mid-level product, which is called Enterprise, is made for campus environments. So schools, hospitals, mid-size situations. And then Ultimate, which is the high-end product, is made for municipalities, citywide surveillance, very large convention arenas, and in situations where the city wants to tie the video to the police departments.
Right.
So we have all different types of product depending on the vertical requirement.
Let's start with a small convenience store. What kind
Sure.
of price point would somebody looking in for a license like that?
Licensing
By the
costs
way,
that
Security Guy Radio disclaimer, this is not a quote. All right, not a quote.
Not a quote. So licensing costs for an entry-level system could be as low as $139 list price or MSRP for the end user.
A month?
So no, that's a one-time fee, and you own it. So
You're kidding me.
No, there's no
I need
recurring.
to come to these trade shows more often.
There's
That's
no
unbelievable.
recurring fees.
Wow.
It's $139 MSRP, and it's your license forever.
Wow.
Now, there are optional plans, such as software upgrade plans,
Right.
if you would like to take advantage of a new feature that's introduced later on in a subsequent release, but it's not required. It's not mandatory.
Now, is your software web-based or local on the local hard drive?
It can be done both ways.
What do you recommend?
Well, for obviously for the main system, we would require a local client.
Right.
We would recommend a local client, but we also have a web-based browser, a web-based browser-based client, and we also have a mobile handheld, so you can look at your video
great.
on the go.
Yeah, mobiles
Yes.
are big.
Yes.
If you're looking at starting this up, what are my requirements as the end user? What do I need to know to call you and say, can you help me?
Well, we would have to sit down and we would have to lay out the design of the system, first of all, which is what we would use a systems integrator for, right? So the SI would go in and he would design the system with you as the end user, make sure that any needs that you have are met in the design, and then the integrator would come back to us and one of our sales engineers would design with him what we would suggest.
So integration is a big deal. I'm looking, you can't see it on camera, but behind me are your supported devices and the partners. It's everybody in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, FLIR and GVC and Honeywell and Sony. I mean, this is big stuff, Vivitech.
Yeah.
So your systems work with those supported hardwares, right? Linnell, and we talked before the show about this integration issue. So we had, back in the day, standalone systems, everything was safe. If somebody got in my studio and they compromised my access control, that's not good, but they didn't get into my cameras.
That's right.
Now they can get into my cameras, my HR system, and my access control, and I got a problem if that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day, it was the sales guy that came out and handled things for you. And as we talked, and I want you to talk about this if we can remember, because it was a great point, it's really the integrator is the new business contact in a lot of ways.
That's
isn't it?
correct.
And he has to
Yes.
stay there in that relationship.
Yes.
So talk about that, why that's so important.
Yeah, well, look, we just talk about the integrations for a second before we discuss that. We integrate with over 300 technology partners.
300, wow.
300, and we also integrate with more than 3,000 cameras from every major manufacturer. So technology integrations are a very big piece
That's
of
a
this
big, now,
business.
so you belong to OnVIF,
OnVIF, yes, absolutely.
which is an acronym I cannot remember what it's. In fact, the guy I interviewed wasn't sure what I remembered, but it's an old acronym. But it really is the organization where like-minded people come together. And to boil it down to my soccer mom listeners, they're synchronizing the technology. So there's a certain standard that's met, that's a good standard, it's a quality standard,
Right.
and then everybody plays nice and works together by sharing, not the secrets, but the technology. So it kind of works on each system.
So what OnVIF does guarantee is it guarantees a video stream. If the camera has other features, it doesn't guarantee support for them.
Okay.
In the case of a pan-tilt camera, it doesn't guarantee that the camera will move.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
it just guarantees that a video stream can be seen.
How long did it take us to get to a level of 4,000 cameras? How long has the industry been working on that?
It takes 15 years.
Wow, that's amazing. But we're here now. That's
We're
great.
here, yes, and
All right.
we continue to integrate with new cameras as they
Right.
come out.
Yeah, I was just over at Vivitech before you, and wow, they got some neat stuff. Pinholes that are 180 or something views. It's amazing.
We utilize a very interesting technique for integration with cameras. We use the manufacturer's universal driver.
Okay.
So what that does is, as long as the manufacturer of the camera continues to adhere to their API commands and they don't change it, we can integrate immediately. As soon as they release it, it should work in our software. Unlike other VMS companies that write specific drivers for every camera.
And you got to hope the guy didn't have a bad night to his coding and didn't get it right.
That's what
because,
that-
it
that's
happens,
exactly right.
So most manufacturers are going to have their I'm not using the right technical term, but maybe their open source code for that driver, and then they have maybe a proprietary driver for something else.
Yes.
And most of them have that, and you use that, and you're plug and play kind of.
Virtually plug and play for all major camera manufacturers.
So if
yes.
an integrator comes out, he's going to be looking at all these things, checking your cameras, checking that driver, and let's say I'm completely out of compliance because I got 5 manufacturers, I got a PTZ Pelco that's 15 years old, but you're going to be able to solve that by putting this right stuff in there and getting it up and running.
Yes, and it actually saves time for the integrator. It saves cost for the end user.
Right.
Because they don't have to spend a lot of time in design.
How old a camera have you gotten online using your system?
How old a camera?
Yeah.
How about one of the first IP cameras ever made, which was a Sony RZ30?
That would go back 15 years?
It goes back 12 to 15 years.
Amazing. And still working. That's
still
great.
work. They still work.
So this sounds like a real cost saving.
Yes.
You're not just adding a management system to it. You're adding a maintenance sustainability to keep that camera up and running
That's
before
correct.
you throw it away.
Right.
Oh, that's fabulous. All right,
So survivability is very good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So an integrator is he's not the new sales guy. He's the new, I don't know, he's the new constant contact. I mean, I'm only calling the boss like you if something's screwed up, right? I want to deal with the guy in the field. And tell us, this is, I think we discussed, this is kind of a new position in a way, right?
We spend an awful lot of time training the integrator base at OnSSI. We have certification classes where integrators can come in for a 4-day boot camp class and learn all about the software and our integrations.
Now, you have your own internal integrators, right?
No, OnSSI does not do installation.
Oh, so you're talking about maybe
We're
belonging...
talking about third-party integrators, yes.
Okay, all right.
So we will train them. We'll make sure that there's a good end-user experience because ultimately, you know, it's OnSSI's reputation.
Right.
Right?
Who's the integrator organization that I've talked to?
You could have been talking to PSA, SecureNet.
SecureNet. Yeah,
Yeah.
those guys got it together. They're pretty big.
They are very big.
And so their people might come to you to get trained on
Yes,
working on stuff.
their
Interesting.
installers
Yeah.
would come to us, and we would train them on how to install Ocularis, how to use it, and really to present the best user experience. That's what it's all about.
Now, I was talking to Vivitech, and I said, you guys have awesome cameras. Don't tell me on camera, but is your default password 01 or something, right? Because that's how people hack it. Because by the time it gets to the end user, if they don't have a guy in the middle that's doing the integration, they're probably just turning it on, not setting the password on it, because people don't always think of the camera as a computer. It's a computer nowadays.
This is a huge issue today.
It's a huge problem.
Huge
And I
problem.
can't believe it's still a problem
It is.
after all the publicity about it.
Now, with our latest release of Ocularis 5, we've included 256-bit AES encryption. So from the client to the servers, it's completely encrypted and secure. And if you use the security properly in the camera, you can encrypt the stream end to end.
So you're adding another layer if you actually change the password to something.
Right. If
All
you
right.
encrypt the camera, you can go end to end with 256-bit encryption.
Now, in theory, maybe not now, but in theory, could your software handle that password stuff for people? And if they have permit, and you'd be able to change passwords constantly so people can't figure out what they are and things like that.
Sure, I mean,
Since it's a computer at the other end, really.
Yeah, the passwords are changeable through the software, certainly.
Oh, they are? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
but it's another level of security that an integrator has to provide for the end user.
Well, and the end user has to now, with your software, actually change the password themselves. What I'm thinking is, can we automate that to have the system say, all right, it's 3 months, it's time to change that password, boom. You know.
I'm pretty sure you can set an alert in the system.
Yeah.
As you would set an alarm on your phone, you can do that within the software to tell you it's time to change the password.
Yeah.
But setting a strong password is vital today in these cameras.
What, without naming clients, what would be the largest application we're using your software at?
Well, we do full citywide deployments. You're in a city today that runs Ocularis across the entire city.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And we
Wait,
can
no
certainly-
traffic cameras, I hope.
Not traffic. No,
Okay,
no,
good. We don't
no,
want those.
no,
No good in California.
No. This is for citywide surveillance.
I got one once, and I had the visor down, right? And they said, "Was that you?" And I said, "I don't know. Was that me?" I don't have to tell you if it was me or not, but that's why they threw them on California, because it's a little unfair.
Right.
Just a
Yeah.
little security guy radio side joke there. All right.
I have a side joke for that also. I used to manufacture the printers that was printed on.
Oh, really?
And they would send them to me in the mail and ask me to pay the fine, right? And I go, on my own printer you send these? On my own printer? So, yeah, it's
What do you guys
those are
got?
not funny.
What do you guys got on the drawing board? Anything coming out? You
Oh,
want to foreshadow?
there's so much on the drawing board. There are so many different vertical markets we're looking to address, different products for different markets. So we have a lot going on right now.
This is cameras, but I'm thinking the technology, the methodology, the management could apply to data streams. I don't know. What else could it apply to?
Non-security applications.
Yeah, like what?
Well, one of the advantages that we've realized from purchasing this company, CTech in Germany, in April, was that they have a wonderful logistics package. So if you're a UPS or you're FedEx and you want to track a package throughout your facility, just by using the barcode scanner, we can correlate that with the video associated.
Oh, interesting.
So at any step along the way, we can tell you where the package is and show you the video of it.
That's CSI stuff.
It's wonderful
stuff,
logistics. It's an application that's outside of security,
Right.
but certainly within the scope of video.
Yeah,
right? Video
absolutely.
surveillance.
Great.
Right.